Well, hello again, Jennifer and Joanne here. I'm Joanne Lemming, Business Development, Sundance Media Group.
Jennifer Pigeon, COO. Welcome back to the Sundance Media Group podcast. We have been mighty busy in the last 6 weeks, haven't we, Joanne?
We have been. I was telling Jennifer my theme is Wake Me Up When September Ends, and it ended, and holy cow, did we have a whirlwind.
Started off with Interdrone 2019 on September 3rd for us. We did the pre-conference sessions. We had, we had a 107 session with James Spear. We had a construction-based session with Brady Reich. And of course, Douglas did his UAS and cinematography. So those went really, really well. Tell me a bit of what you recall from Interdrone way back at the beginning of September.
And we also throw in our CSI night event and our night flight event out at Seven Magic Mountains. And when you package all of that together, we were very, very busy at Interdrone and had a wonderful time.
Indeed. One of my favorite parts about Interdrone this past month was the Women in Drones Luncheon. Joanne and I both were able to attend that. It was a first for Women in Drones in that they split up their Women to Watch in UAS into 5 categories this year. It was their 5th annual luncheon, but they've decided to make it bigger and better, and boy, was it bigger and better.
It absolutely was.
So they broke it into, education, entrepreneurial, humanitarian, innovation, and leadership. And I was actually one of the judges on the panel to help select the 5 women to watch in UAS for 2019. And let me tell you, it was not easy to basically decide who was going to get which award. It was pretty spectacular. We've got some pretty amazing women out there stirring it up in the industry. So congratulations to all the winners. For anybody interested, be sure to drop by the Women in Drones website. They've got a full article on it. And they actually had a surprise category this year.
It was the corporate award for the Fox Flight Team. And the most exciting part was you sit there in the audience and realize that yesterday you talked to these women without even knowing, and they are amazing and they're doing wonderful things. All of the women involved in drones. It was very, very powerful.
It was very inspiring. So be sure to drop by the Women in Drones website and check out both the corporate award story. They actually talk about all of the women pilots that they have on their journalist team. And of course the 5 award recipients for the Women to Watch in Drones for 2019. So pretty much from the Interdrone show floor, we packed up our AVOC, drove it off the show floor, and hit the road. We headed off to
Chicago. Here we come. Hot dogs, pizza, Dub Airs, and GSX.
And GSX. So GSX was the Global Security Exchange Conference. This is our 2nd year participating. Fantastic group of attendees. They're very focused on counter UAS because it's a security show. And what was one of the interesting things that kind of came out for us being, security?
Well, and the counter UAS, you think security equals counter UAS, and really security equals Overwatch and the security that a small unmanned aerial system can provide. That was the real story for me.
And I think that was a really good takeaway for a variety of the attendees, because I think quite a few of them came to our booth looking for the counter UAS solution. When we asked some qualifying questions, it was more of well, if you're trying to do perimeter security, we can actually help you provide that offering with a small unmanned aerial solution. So it was pretty exciting to be able to kind of take that information, turn it around a little bit, and give them a different vision on what was possible with unmanned aircraft. Our friends with Westwind Unmanned were with us in the booth. That was really exciting to have them on site with us. We also had UA Sidekick right next door, and they had a pretty spectacular show themselves, in that they actually had their very first, I think it was live tracking scenario happen while we were on the show floor.
Right.
So that was really fantastic to see. And what else? What else do you recall of GSX?
Well, the thing that I recall is the public safety side of it. And it really goes back to you don't know what you don't know until you start asking the questions, and the realization that everybody thinks their solution is the beginning and they're really trying to run before they even learn to crawl. So it's all about education and continuing the conversations and helping people make the right decisions on their solution, and instead of ending up with a closet full of money and it doesn't work.
Very good point. And then from Chicago, we packed up the AVOC again and drove back down the country into
Iowa, through Illinois, where there apparently is a lot of corn, into Iowa, where amazingly there are wind turbines that just blow your mind until you are close enough to physically drive past a turbine blade. The realization of the size is phenomenal. Anyway, Iowa was very eye-opening to me, and it is agriculture, and we had a good time there.
It is definitely the belt of farmland, and it was pretty spectacular. It was a fantastic time of year to be there. They were basically just outside of their end of season, so they were ready to be harvesting, so it was pretty awesome to be there. We were actually there for 2 events in Iowa. Day 1 was a public safety focused event where we brought our knowledge about public safety and how to apply UAS into that workflow. We did a CSI event there. I think we managed to educate and help the local public safety agencies understand how they could bring drones into their workflow. And then day 2 was
agriculture,
focused on the farmland, of course.
And we went right into probably not exactly the middle of Iowa, but it seemed like we were in the middle of Iowa. And we met farmers, we met young farmers who are trying to decide how to manage their crops, how to manage doing this better, how to get the most out with all the technology that is there. And politicians were there, people from the state were there, so everyone in the state is trying to understand how to give us really good corn.
And it's pretty impressive that HTS Ag are partners with this particular stop on our September agenda. HTS Ag, they brought these people to the table, and they actually had a couple of farmers drive 4 hours to get to this, so they could better understand what the workflow looks for the ag side. So very interesting in that, a lot of open land in farmlands. There's not many buildings. There's not a lot of trees once you're above a certain elevation. So one of our biggest challenges was trying to get the audience to understand that even though this area is so open, we still have to abide by 107. And I hope that we managed to get that knowledge through. I feel like we have, because HTS Ag has asked us to come back and do a 107 training for the area. So that's next on our list, as we'll be head back to Iowa.
Yeah.
But I think that was the biggest takeaway for me, is that there was just a lack of understanding of the necessity of 107 and how that kind of falls into a commercial application of drones.
Yeah, Adam Gittens and his team at HTS Ag did a really good job of bringing farmers together along with us. So it was a big month. After that, I think you got the AVOC and
I got to
drove
go
again, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did. So from Iowa, we headed to Utah for the Utah Department of Transportation. They did a roundtable discussion for public safety. A fantastic group of people. There was a lot of case study sharing and what works, what doesn't work, how do we make it better. Really fortunate that we were able to kind of squeeze that into our schedule. And then the week following that was actually the Pix4D user conference.
Right.
So flew to Denver at least, which
now
was
you're
fantastic.
sneaking into October.
I guess that's true. Yeah. That was the first 2 days of October, but I did want to mention that we were at the Pix4D user conference. Pretty spectacular to see some of those case studies that were shared at the user conference. And I think my biggest takeaway was 1 millimeter accuracy. And I have a sneaky suspicion you'll have an opportunity to learn more about that in a separate podcast. So
exactly.
Yeah, that was our September. Pretty spectacular and lots of activities. And I think from all of our travels and touch points within the industry this past month, we'll have quite a few podcasts coming your way. So stay tuned and be sure that you subscribe down below.
Exactly. Keep an eye on social media because we're there also. If it's not a podcast, it's live from Facebook or pictures on Instagram. So we're there. Watch for us.
Join us. Thanks for spending some time with us today, and fly safe.